Hello my fellow riders, and today we're going to be taking a test ride on the Yamasaki F51. Now this is a Yamasaki F51. It is a 50cc scooter or geared scooter, and it is designed for 16-year-olds really. So if you are 16 years old and you have done your CBT, you can legally ride this bike on the road. You will need to get insurance. The first year's tax is free. Your second year's tax will be about £21. Let's push. Person right up my butt. So this is a brand new bike. It will need time to run in. So at the minute we're not producing that much power. But as the bike gets older, it will increase. Now this bike does, I believe it comes slightly restricted on power output, and they do that so that the average speed on the flat is going to be around the 34-ish miles an hour. But this bike will actually get a little bit more power than that, and it will go up to about 44 mile an hour tops going down a hill. Now comparing this to the Yamasaki YM50 RE, the RE has slightly more power, just because of the way it's restricted, but it is still restricted so that it'll do 30 to 34 miles an hour on the flat. .50cc's are not like they used to be. When they were 2 strokes, they would have a lot more speed, and in certain positions or certain RPM rev ranges they would have a little bit more power, but they were quite a lot less reliable than the 4-stroke, just because of the way they were. You had to add oil into the fuel mixture separately. Sometimes there was a filler tank that you would put oil into, and sometimes you would just put it directly into the tank and mix it in a specific mixture. This bike is fairly comfortable. It's a nice sitting up position. The seat is a little bit hard, and I don't think it's going to get that much softer, but the suspension should in theory get softer over time, just because it's running in. So as you can see, going downhill we're at 45 miles an hour, but as you go back up a hill you're going to slow back down again. This is classed as a commuter bike, but it doesn't actually have the capability of putting a back rack on it. The only Yamasaki that does have that capability is the F31, and the back rack comes standard with that, but you would have to put on your own box. Fuel economy on this bike, you should be looking at 100 to 120 miles per gallon, so you should be getting about 300 plus miles to the tank. This bike, as I said, will get more power as it gets older. Just everything's really toy at the minute. In regards to running in, it's advised you're running in, but on a 50cc it's not really that feasible to do so. Just because of so on the running in process, what we will recommend is you would do 300 miles using a maximum of 75% of the power of the bike. So try and keep it under 8,000 RPM. But with a 50cc motorbike, if you're not using the full amount of power, then sometimes you're not going very fast, or you need to use a lower gear with a higher RPM to go up hills. But legally with these bikes, they're supposed to do, on the flat, they're supposed to do an average of 30, I think it's 30 to 32 miles an hour, so it's about right power wise. The fourth gear is more of a maintenance gear, so that maintains your speed. There's not a lot of torque in that gear, just because of the way that the gearing's set out. You can you get a finite amount of power coming from the engine, and you can either use that power to create speed or torque. You can't have both. So you've got to set it up so that it has the best of both worlds as much as possible. But any 4-stroke 50cc will never have that much power. I think the max you can get out of these is probably around the 5 horsepower ish. These don't have as good of an acceleration as the Yamasaki F50 RE, and I don't know if they do that on purpose, but that's just what it is. Every bike is slightly different. Mirrors on this are fairly good. They're not set up correctly for me really on this, but I can use about 50 to 75% of the mirror range. But if you set them properly to yourself, your height, your width and whatnot, yeah, then you should be able to get a little bit more. But I'm fairly broad, so. This bike has got larger wheels, so it should be better on taking potholes compared to a rev and go scooter. But when you're accelerating or when you're coming off of the mark, you do need to build up the revs on this before you go. Nice. And like now, you need to be using the whole of the rev range, because it's getting the speed up. I think the tappets need doing on this one because it's a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish, more than normal. Come on, Schmo. But these are the reasons why we do the test rides in the first place, to be able to tell whether there's any adjustments that need doing before they go out to a customer. Because when they do go out to a customer, you don't want the customer ringing up saying that it's not right. I think the laws for a 50cc are pretty stupid as well. Like on this road, take for example this road. This is a 50-mile-an-hour road, and I am currently doing 27, which means a tailback lorry pulling out and all that, especially for a new rider, that might be kind of scary. But from what I can see behind me now, there's a tailback of about 10 cars. But now we're coming onto a flat again, I can accelerate. Now there are some areas of the UK that this bike isn't suitable. Like going up and down the hills in Scotland, probably you need to decide on getting something else, because there's not enough power coming from this, and there won't be enough power off of any 50cc to be able to deal with some of the hills in Scotland. If your commute is generally flat, then a 50cc is okay and will do it. If you've got a couple of hills in there that you don't mind slowing down a little bit, then again that would be okay. But if you've got sustained hills for miles and miles, then a 50cc isn't really suitable. So also maybe the Peak District as well, these wouldn't be suitable for some of that area. And Luton, there's some big hills in Luton that also just wouldn't be suitable for, just because it does not have the power to be able to sustain speed on big hills. The only 50cc that you're going to be able to get that's able to do the sustained power on hills is an electric, because they've got the equivalent torque to a 125. So they will only do 30 miles an hour unless you de-restrict them, but they will be able to do that 30 miles an hour on pretty much most hills. So we're coming back to base now. Thank you for watching my video. Remember, I've got over 280 videos on my channel with loads of different topics, all motorbike related. So if there's any video motorbike related you want to have a look at, go and check out my channel and you should be able to find something. If you want to support my channel, there is a join button underneath, and any money that you put into that will help out my channel. Hit the subscribe button, but as always, ride safe.